Welcome, seriously welcome to a John Legg fragrance review. You know what, you are so welcome to this channel and I'm so pleased to have your company. First of all, I've got to say a massive thank you to everyone who has sent comments and given me some support over the last 12 months, because I'm a little bit of a donkey when it comes to IT and tech. So for a long time I had no idea how to flick the comments on, and people were obviously trying to leave comments, and me being me, not really knowing much about it, I was like, I don't know how to turn the comments on. And you're probably thinking, come on Leggy, it's just a little flick of a... Eventually I've done it, and eventually I've even worked out how to reply to comments. So you know what, thank you for your patience and thank you for your support, and you are so welcome to this crazy fragrance channel. Right, in fact, let's tell you how this channel came about. So just under 12 months ago, during lockdown 1, the original formulation, you know, before it got watered down into, it's not really much of a lockdown, the original lockdown, obviously stuck within the house, got confines of the house, I thought, you know what, let's do a wardrobe clear out. So I spent a whole day, got rid of some clothes, tidied things up, had a good clean, good vac, and you know what, I was finding bottle after bottle after bottle after... I'll tell you what, I laid them all out of my bed and it pretty much covered a double bed. And I suddenly thought to myself, you know what, I've got so many fragrances, it's just crazy. I need to tell people about these fragrances, because, alright, when I had my first bottle of fragrance, I was probably about excuse me, I was probably about 11 or 12, and I got a bottle of Brut 33, and you know what, it was the old splash on top, and I splashed it on and I was like, wow, man, I love that fragrance. And suddenly it switched on a whole new world for me, and I just became locked into fragrances, and my nose was just sniffing around all the time, and I just, oh man, I could talk to you about fragrances for so long. So I laid out all my fragrances on the bed, and I thought, problem is, I've got no one sort of close to me that shares the same passion. I tell you what, let's tell other people about it. So I opened my laptop, took a video, put it on YouTube, and that's kind of where it's gone from there. So I really appreciate every thumbs up. I really appreciate every person who's watched a video and has liked it and has commented, and I will always try and reply to your comments, especially now that I know how to do it. So let me give you a little bit of background about me, Johnny Legg. Okay, now I don't work anything to do with the perfume trade. I don't work in anything glamorous. I work in a car garage, a Mazda car garage in Tamworth, Staffordshire, England, and I'm not even the glamorous sales guy out the front. I'm the spare parts guy tucked out the back. Alright, now the parts department is full of oily, greasy, messy, horrible, chemical-y things. So this perfume and this aftershave that I'm so into is a far cry from what I deal with on a day-to-day basis. In fact, it's probably for me a sense of a way of escaping what I have to deal with on a daily basis. And I've managed to convert the parts department, which is normally quite a dingy, smelly, oily, greasy sort of place, into people walk into it, and there's probably about 25-30 people on site, and as they walk into the parts department, they always comment that it's more like walking into Debenhams or some kind of department store, because it always smells great in there. And you know what, as people come through, they know that they are going to get sprayed by some kind of fragrance or perfume, because they know I'll always have something in my bag or something on my desk, and I'll spray them because I want an opinion. Okay, now I tell you what, I was there, I was tapping on my computer, I was suddenly aware that there's someone stood behind me, and I turned around thinking he wants to order a part or something, and it was one of the sales guys, and he was just stood there with his wrists like that, and I went, what are you after, mate? And he went, what we got today, Leggy? So he wanted to try a fragrance, and you know, that's how I do my research. I don't go to the shopping mall and sort of stop beautiful women and say, well, what would you prefer to smell on a guy? I don't have that opportunity, so I do my research at work. And I said there's probably 25 people, maybe 30 people who work at the car dealership, and the age range is from sort of 20 up to, I think the oldest guy there is about 72, 73, something like that. And there's a good mixture of male and female, so I get a good sort of cross-section of the population, whole 25, 30 people, and I do my research by spraying them. Most of them embrace it, and most of them enjoy giving me the feedback and the comments. So I thought to myself, let's do a Johnny Legg spray off. Okay, if the BBC can do bake off, I'll do spray off. So I sort of thought I need to take in two fragrances which I consider to be similar, not the same, but similar. In other words, they use the same sort of ideas, the same vibe. And I wanted to spray people, everyone on site, male and female, young and old, and I wanted to get the feedback so I could tell you about these two fragrances. Now I have a particular favourite of these two, and you probably know which it is if you've already watched my videos, but let me show you the ones I took. So I took the legendary Armani Code, that's the Absolute, that's the fairly new one, which is, oh well, just a beautiful fragrance. And I also took 1 Million, the perfume one, right? Okay, so that's a fairly recent one as well. So, in my book, these are similar. They're not the same, but when you smell them, you understand that they're in the same sort of category. So they've both got sort of the original. This has got the original Armani Code, but it's got quite a lot of tonka sweetness and a hint of sort of suede leather over it. And this has got the original DNA of Paco Rabanne 1 Million, which is, everyone's familiar with that, but that's got a lot of tonka and sweetness over the top. So both of them have their originals under the skin, but they both go a different direction from their originals due to the sweetness. And you know what? I love them both. If I have to be honest, my favourite is the Armani Code Absolute. So I asked, I think it was 25 people, you know, a spray on each wrist, male and female, young and old, and they all gave me the feedback. And you know what? Out of the 25 people I asked, only two men said, you know what, I would prefer to wear the 1 Million perfume. Okay? Everyone else, male and female, especially the females, said Armani Code Absolute, and they all just go, man, that's a beautiful fragrance. There was one woman, and she's unfamiliar with these two. In fact, she's probably unfamiliar with most men's fragrances. And I sprayed them on her, and I said, what's your take on those then? And she went, well, one's a perfume and one's an aftershave. She meant, like, one's for man and one's for woman. So she was thinking that the Armani Code, because it is, I mean, it's sweet, ultra sweet. She was thinking that was really for a woman and that was really for a man. And I said, okay, what would you prefer? I said, no, they're both for men. What would you prefer your husband to wear? And she went, Armani Code. So even though she thought it was sort of feminine, sort of very sweet, she said she would prefer a husband to smell like that. Now, in terms of performance, now I've had these on each wrist pretty much for a couple of 3 days, and I've monitored it. And you know what? Way and above this one, the Armani Code Absolute performs. You get a full half day, you know, from putting it on at, I don't know, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning as you're getting dressed, you're going out to work, till about lunchtime. This one is really kicking off, you know, it projects well. You leave like a nice scent memory trail, as I like to call it, not a CR, just too technical. That one is an absolute monster. If you top up at lunchtime, then you'll get the rest of the day doing the same thing. This one for me is a little bit disappointing. It starts off well and it performs well for maybe half an hour to 40 minutes, and then it goes down to like really just a tiny little scent bubble around you. Nobody particularly smells it on you. I think the idea with that, I think that's 1 million for the summer because you've got like a sundial thing on there. And yes, it would. You know what, these would both do summer and winter, but they're quite good in terms of they will deal with the heat of the summer. But just go easy on the trigger on that one because that one is mighty strong, okay? So, my favourite is that one. And now I can say, could you leave me a comment and tell me what your favourite is? If you find the same, that this is an absolute beast in terms of it goes on for a mighty long time, Every female on site was just wowed by that. You know, they said yes, that's what they'd want a guy to smell like. But there was just two guys, one sort of burly mechanic and one sort of burly sales guy, and they both said, oh no, definitely the 1 million, right? So they were outnumbered, but fair play to them. They definitely both sort of took a long time smelling it and said, yes, that's the one. So this is just the first of many John Legg spray offs. So I'm going to pick another two, maybe something like Bleu de Chanel, and I may pick something like YSL YEDP and do a spray off there. So the overall winner out of those two, in terms of young and old, male and female, they all, except for two people, went for the Armani Code Absolute. So massive respect to Armani Code. Please, Armani, don't ever reformulate or weaken this one, because at the moment it's amazing. Okay, so if you would kindly thumbs up, if you would subscribe, I would be honoured, I'd be privileged. Drop me a comment and I will try and get back to you. And stay safe, spray fragrance every day. See you next time. Goodbye.